Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Tea Time with special guest. She's back. It's been a while.
I suppose.
What's the last one you did? Was that Resident Evil Village, or was that the Xbox Showcase one?
Ooh, good question. Last one I remember was Resident Evil Village, but we did talk a little bit about the showcase.
Yeah, the showcase was, I think it was a big one, actually, but we're back with AI, the Somnium Files, if I could.
Somnium
Files? The next one's got a much easier name, so thank God. and for most spoiler free with this, we're recording this live. Neither of us can actually hear the game. I'm gonna put it in Japanese, so you can't read anything. So you can't be spoiled.
You know Japanese. In which case, oops.
このゲームは? Okay. Okay, so we have finished this game. I'm probably just gonna put it on auto and let it just do its thing until it makes me interact. But yeah, we finished this game. We went all the way through it, and I think we had a fun time.
Yeah, I remember. I was looking forward to playing this game, and you seemed a little bit more hesitant. Why was that?
It's a Spike Chunsoft game, and they made Danganronpa. Danganronpa 2, literally, the writer decided to roll dice to see who killed who in it. If you know anything about Danganronpa, you'll know why I was like, about this game. Spike Chunsoft has got a very scattered track record, in my opinion.
Well, would you say they blew you away with this one?
I wouldn't say blew me away, but it is way better than Danganronpa. There's only a little bit of hand-wavy, what do I call it? Moon logic in this game. Only a little bit. There was a couple of those, and yeah, unlike Danganronpa, which I'm still mad about. Danganronpa 2 specifically. The first game's fine, but okay, but back to AI. So we both really enjoyed our weird main character, who seemed like some sort of strange social outcast.
Really quirky.
Yep, he definitely is quirky. With his fake eye partner named Aiba.
Yeah, my first thoughts of Iva was, what is she doing? Maybe we'll get to see that later.
I think we'll get to see a bit of her right now, because it's a tutorial one. That was just the opening cutscene. So we're at the scene of the crime, and things are all weird. There's the objectives and all that. So this is a crime investigation game, which is kind of in the vein of something like Danganronpa, but with less panty gathering. I have yet to see any panties to be gathered in this game, except for that one pair, but that wasn't like you had to do anything to get it, so we'll let that one slide. If you don't remember it, it's fine.
Well, they made us gather eyeballs, I think, in this one.
Yeah, eyeballs were the collectible in this one. And boss is looking at us. I want to know what her name is written like in Japanese. Aiba. Yes, Aiba's this cute little thing.
Yeah, I thought Iva was adorable.
Hey,
eyeball
The,
mouse.
this Iva is okay. This Furo Iva you like. The other one, I think you were a little more what on?
She grew on me over time, but my first impression was, what is she doing?
Yeah. There's definitely a good dynamic between Aiba and Date, our titular main character, who's here in the corner at the moment. Just gonna put it on auto.
Yeah, they definitely played off each other well.
Yeah. And they will explain things in Japanese. And we're gonna zoom and look at stuff. Zoom. Yes, thank you. And look at the victim and all that. So this is like the majority, I don't want to say the majority of the game. This only happens a few times where you're like investigating scenes and that, but it is kind of, I don't know, how would you describe it? While I look at the corpse
It's
here.
always an interactive visual novel to me, with some, I guess, major decisions. But essentially, there weren't that many decisions so much as, I guess there were points where you can make major choices, but for the most part, you're just clicking through it. You're forced to click through it. So it felt a lot more visual novel-y.
Oh, the storytelling is definitely visual novel-y. If you played any of the Danganronpa games, which I don't think you have,
No, I don't think I have.
it's very much the way that they do things. I don't think it's bad per se, but like you interact, you look for the thing, and there's some stuff you can interact with to find funny things. There's fun achievements here and there.
Yeah, for the most part, they force you through the main plot, and you get the cute puns, and the gags, and the little, Easter eggs. If you explore a little bit.
Yeah, the collectible is what's that, eyeball thingies in the other section of the game, which is kind of a puzzle solving. It reminds me more of like a Western, like something like Legend of Kyrandia or something, where you're controlling a character and you're trying to like pick up items and figure out how to do things. And there's like a time mechanic. We should see it at some point. I thought it started with that, but it didn't. Yes, after this, you can talk to boss.
まだ外車が見つかったばかりなのよ。何もわかるわけないじゃない。ただ一つだけ言えるのは、模倣犯かもしれないってこと。6
A
年前に
different
起
game.
こったあの事件のね。
What was the last one we played before this? Like, because you were at a your one arm was out of commission for a while, so you could only really watch for a long time. So.
Watching a lot of Elden Ring and Dark Souls.
この季節にしては珍
There's
し
a
いわ
lot of
ね。
Dark. There's other
これ
games
じゃ
that you were more involved with, but this was the one was like that we were like going for the weird stuff.
もしかして頭でも打った
Yeah, it definitely had a story that
あなたの名
sucked
前
you
は
in
だ
and
ってかなめ
made you up.
警視庁の
And you
特殊
wanted to know
捜査
what
アビス
happened
の
next.
メンバーであ
It's
り
kind of
私の部下
interesting
でも
how the
現
different
場に呼び出される
plot
のは当然
lines
じゃない
split off from each other, because different things do happen, and there is like a flow chart, and you get to the end of a
彼女のこと知ってるんでしょあなたに知らせ
series
ない
of
わけにはい
events,
かなかった
and then there's either a branching path or
今から2時間ほど前園内から
it
悲鳴が
ends
聞こえ
there.
てきたって通報が
The one main, I'm gonna just call it what it is. The true ending is
そうだけ
probably
ど通報してきたのが誰なのかがわからない
the
のね
most interesting, but it also takes aspects of things you learn from the other plot lines, which is weird to have for a true ending, but not talking very generally here. There's like, what? I want to say 5 or 6 paths?
名前は
I
ナダ
would
ミ
say
翔
that's about right.
知ってるでしょ
And some block you
あ
off
な
from
たとは何
others
年も
until
前
you
から深い関
finished
係にある
Like you get you can only go so far on one path. But the best part is that actually I can bring up that menu here. There's a flowchart. Thank you. Thank you, Aiba. Bring up the flowchart here and it will. So we're starting here at the top. I decided to start a do save so you didn't get to see how big the flowchart is, but you get an idea for all the space it can have. It might be a little bit intimidating, but it didn't take us that long. It was like, I want to say like 4 or 5-ish sessions, maybe a couple more.
Wasn't too long.
But it's like we're in position and we're currently in progress here. It'll go down until there's a branch. Usually the branch happens in the other game mode. I need to get into the other game so I can show that off, because that's kind of where the fun is, where the interesting bits are.
But for now, you gotta, interesting characters.
You've got to get the clues and all that. So it goes. I'd say that the progression of the game is the investigation, the sink. We'll hopefully show that soon. Can we skip? Oh, we can. Okay, we'll skip forward. We can skip forward to the next bit. But there's... What was I saying? We're talking about the progression. There's like the investigation. There's the sink. And then there's like... Investigation doesn't necessarily have to be a murder scene. It can be talking to people. It can be just looking around an environment. I'm not doing a lot of that because... This is just, I want to get to show the next bit of the game. But there's a lot you can do in environments, like open things, pick up stuff, and get funny dialogue segments from things. A couple that I missed. I'd say that this game does have a decent way of obfuscating what's actually going on.
That's a generous way of putting it.
Well, the problem with like most mystery games is you have to like foreshadow to what happened and what's going on without revealing too much. Okay, we should get the sync tutorial now, because he's snoozing. And we get to see computer Aiba form 2, which you might have seen before. I don't think she's on the cover of the game. My brother has the Switch version here. Yes, she is on the cover. In both forms. Okay, and here we are. Well, it's still not quite there, but almost there. Anything you want to add?
Well, I liked the environments, I liked the character designs, I thought they were cool. This is that scene I was talking about, like, what the hell is she doing?
I don't think he recognized her. Nani Kara. Yeah, he doesn't recognize her right now. And she's talking in circles. He just picked up on it. But yeah. But she always does weird stuff like this. Every time you end up in a sink, Aiba always does something weird, and it's kind of hilarious. So this is the tutorial section of trying to explain how sinks work, and she's talking about how this is a dream. Yeah, I see the word for dream. I can't read this as fast as she's talking, and I can't hear her, so it's okay. Aiba's all about being a weirdo, though.
Got a quirky personality.
She does. And it really works with Date's very perverted personality. I was always trying to figure out what would get me an achievement. Because, there's some pretty funny ones that... like the stupid... Like, Aiba's got some weird fascination with bugs. But you find that out, like, super... You might not even find that out if you're playing it a specific way, but she has a weird fascination with bugs, and... I was always like, am I gonna get an achievement if I do this specific thing over and over again? It made me think of like Guardians of the Galaxy, where I kept closing the fridge. Never got an achievement for that though.
何が?
私は今お前の夢の世界をスキャンした。それを元にシミュレーションした結果、いくつかのメンタルロックが。
So,
メンタルロック?
sorry?
So that's in English. Mental lock 1.
There was
So
some
that's
of it in English. Yeah.
Of these peace things, those mental locks.
Yeah, they're like the progress that you get through. Most of these sync sections, maybe not most of them, but there's a few that have 2 potential ways to solve them. And depending on the way you decide to solve them will depend on which path you take. I don't know if you have to take every path to get the true ending, but you would need to at least... You probably need to get all of them. The way we had done it, it had been like, we're getting all of them before you can get to the final one. And judging by the percentages, not a lot of people finished this game.
Yeah, I think
But
it's like
those numbers...
1%.
Oh, I can check the numbers in a sec. It might have been like 3 or 5%. Game Pass always kind of skews the numbers. I kind of wish they wouldn't do the percentages like that, because maybe the person downloaded it to see what it was like, got a couple achievements, and then were like, oh, this isn't what I thought it would be. That's the good and the bad of Game Pass. Okay, now we can control Aiba and walk around this 3D environment. They're explaining that whatever is in the corner there is like a hint. So it's a door. This might be a little more difficult than I thought. So first one's the door, right? Now I discovered this button worked very late in the game and would have helped tremendously in several of the other sinks. We needed it for one though, because it was very dark.
It's also time-based. It helps you decide which direction to move in.
Yes, that's the other. There's a timer on this. If you are interacting with a thing like this, take a look at it. This will not affect time moving forward. Time is stopped. I don't think this one has a time limit, but all the other ones do, and it's 6 minutes. Yeah, it's 6 minutes. And open it. Your weird hand
That
is...
all look dirty.
There's a lot of dirty... If you can't handle some mature themes and some bizarre characters, maybe this is the game for you. Maybe.
仕方がない。説明してやろう。
そんなことより、俺の貴重な睡眠の邪魔をしないでほしいんだが。
いいから黙って聞け。
Uh-huh. That's the face.
だって、あれを見てみろ。
Logic in a dream doesn't have to correspond with logic in real life. That's kind of the gist of what they're talking about and how come. But I don't know. The story of this was actually pretty compelling. And I think it benefited it that there wasn't
知らん
a ton of characters. Like, there's a lot of characters in it, but there's not a lot of characters that have like
知
huge
らないものは知らないんだよ
impact over the story. Like again, Danganronpa. Games that are about teenagers killing themselves is not as interesting to me as AI here. I enjoyed this game so much that I have pre-ordered the second game and very much look forward to playing it. And I'm sure you look forward to seeing what ridiculousness
何をさせようかな
Dante and Aiba will get up to next.
I think Aiba really stole the show. Date had his moments, but Aiba was kind of the person I found stole the show.
She's dead. I think she's more of a main character than Date. Like, he interacts with the world, but she's always there. Except when she isn't. But that's not a. That's a.
Left.
I get smell. Yeah. Nope, that's Paul.
That was Soul.
地に足つけて
I
まっ
can't.
とうに生き
I'm
る
not grade 5
俺の生き
or
様をよく表してるな
I'm not considered Japanese
そういえば
literate, so
触れたな
it's okay. I put it on this so it
こんな
wouldn't
感じで
spoil
進めれ
anyone.
ばいいのか
Minimum amount of spoilers just from what you see. Although
そういやお前
Sumo,
匂い
sumo.
はわからないんじゃなかったか
I don't know. Also, it's got a really good voice cast, at least in Japanese. Oh yeah. One weird thing that happened. Excuse me. At the very end of the game, there was like a dance sequence with a song, and we played. Well, I played through the whole game in Japanese. And the very last number was in English for some reason, and it was very jarring. And I do not care for the English voice cast. I'm sure they're very talented and lovely people, but
Can't sing.
no, that's not a requirement for English voice acting. Where it is kind of for Japanese voice acting. Light, light, I believe is what it was. Because, well, I've talked about it before, but Sayako Ohara is in this game playing a character, one of the more predominant ones. She was in. She plays Japanese Mercy. She was evil mom in Death End Request 2. And I always love when she comes around because she's this lovely maternal, like motherly voice, and I always very much appreciate hearing her. And she's very recognizable. At least I recognize her all the time. Maybe it's because I play Overwatch in Japanese. Bottle. Wine. I don't know. I don't want to go too much farther. We've also kind of been going for a bit. Anything else you want to say before we leave it at that?
Well, what should people know?
Well, Date's kind of a big perv, so there's a lot of those jokes. So if you're not okay with weird jokes like that, and maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt and be open-minded about it. Aiba, tells them off he needs to.
Yeah, there's also like I don't even know how you describe Mama. Which is kind of interesting that there's a character like Mama in a Japanese game. I'm trying to think of the last one I played with a character like that. There usually isn't, because Japan's not the most progressive with some of that. In some ways they are, in some ways they aren't.
I think it's best to describe this game as Fringe.
Fringe?
Yeah. It's not, let's just, politically correct in any way. You know, it's very open-minded, and they're not afraid to,
There's definitely some weird things that people will talk about. Some of the stuff didn't translate super well. I did notice that. I know you liked some of the English puns, but there was a couple of them that just did not translate, and they didn't butcher the joke, but changed it a lot. But that happens a ton with Japanese puns, because they really don't translate like any pun.
it's like inside jokes. You gotta know the language to be on the inside of the joke.
True. Like the big speakers. Oh, he got stickers. There's stickers in here. There's a little Aiba sticker. I'll send you a picture of it. I'll probably put it up in the video, whatever, but that's cool.
I think Aiba, like I said, stole the show. At first, I was hesitant on her, but she became my favorite character by the end.
She was your favorite?
Yeah, I liked her the best.
Well, I know how you feel about Iris.
I didn't like Iris as much. Boss
like
was
Hitomi.
cool. Boss reminded me of like anime Claire from Resident Evil. Like the red leather jacket and the, you know, tough woman. I liked Boss.
Tough. Boss is an interesting character. I think there's a lot of different types of female characters in this game. Like, you have Tome, who's very maternal, very motherly, very caring. You've got the hot-headed, maybe a little bit abrasive Mizuki, who we saw earlier but was not exactly her normal self.
Yes, I think she was the youngest of the group.
Of the main characters, yes. Unless you count how old Aiba is from being made.
No, I don't think that counts.
No, that's the thing. It's like, then she would be the youngest, yes.
But they had different characters. They felt very different. They weren't like cookie cutter, copy paste of each other. They each had different personalities. Which is
I think if there was a cookie cutter or copy paste character, they were usually didn't even have a name.
Yeah. Police officer one, inspector.
Yeah, like those guys are just gonna have the voice. If whatever. There's a surprising amount of variety in the characters, at least. If you're not into characters and character development and this sort of, it's kind of, it's not exactly the same as like a Sherlock Holmes game where you're kind of trying to figure out who did it. In this, you're more or less trying to
progress, I would say.
Progress, yeah. Like, there is times where it asks you some things. Oops, I think I got it drunk. It's more like you're watching the story and there's sometimes just like a test to make sure you're paying attention. It is definitely a niche game though, where you have these characters. They're gonna do whatever they're gonna do, and you kind of just gotta go along for the story. There is some stuff you can interact with, like when you're investigating things, you can look around, talk to other people who happen to be there. Without spoiling anything, it's hard to say. I'd recommend playing it even if you're even a little bit interested, and just be open-minded for some of the paths because they are kind of wacky.
Type of person who's like, no, I gotta replay it again because I want the best ending. In this game, no, you gotta see all the endings, otherwise it won't make sense.
Yeah, you need all the endings. That might be a little bit of a put off, but I can show you the flowchart again briefly because we'll be in a different section of it. So, if I up here, so it'll have like the start, this, and then it will branch off as it goes, and paths will form, and you do have to see everything to get to the very end. But we were kind of betting which one was the canon end or like the true end, but the very last one that you get is the true end. There is, if you are interested in getting the achievements though, because you can just pop back in at basically any point in an investigation and skip through whatever you don't want to do. If you missed one of the collectibles in one of the sinks, you can totally do that. That is there. And it also has hold on, I go back to the thing. It also has a log, which is super nice to have.
Yeah,
so you can see what people said. If you accidentally press the button one too many times, or one note though, this game does not quick resume on the Series X. I don't know if there's something with the way the RAM does. Just make sure you save. You can save basically anywhere. The menu, it's this one. It's even in English, see? Although it's weird, the save looks like a PSP save window. Maybe it's a lazy port? I don't know.
I thought the menus were a little bit primitive.
Well, you'd say that. I think they do their job. They don't really get in the way. Like there's the files, the characters, and there's an index and an appendices to if you don't know certain things. Some of the terms they have in there I thought were a little weird, but I could totally see people not knowing some of them. So any of your technical jargon and maybe some other things, like didn't they have one for doujinshi in there? I feel like if you're playing this game, you know what a doujinshi is.
I think they explained BL, which was funny.
Yeah, they did. They explained BL. That was it.
It's like, okay, if you've never heard of BL, they'll explain it for you.
Yeah.
So at least some of the required knowledge is there.
Yeah, they at least have any keyword has some sort of thing. I don't think there's much in here. Yeah, I don't have anything yet. But yeah, if you want to know what BL means, it means boy love.
And that appendix only arose from clicking on a random item you didn't even have to interact with. It wasn't even remotely important to the plot.
I don't remember where I got it, but that's funny. I would not. Yeah, that was in Boss's office. There's a bunch of stuff in there.
There's a sync room in the lab.
Oh, you're right.
Click on a random locker just to see what's in the locker. It's like okay. Not important to the plot. It's just an exploration point.
Well, I guess it was kind of important. In a
I guess
way.
it helps
It could.
explain some
It
stuff.
could have been important. It. That's the thing, though. Like, you never know, right? And they don't really go into, and I kind of like that. You just assume, not assume, but there's a lot of things that just are there. There's a lot of world storytelling. Like, they tell you without just telling you outright about everything. There's just people that are people. It does the thing that I actually like when you're trying to work with anything with like we're just talking about boy love or the LGBTQ plus, where it's subtle and you don't get bludgeoned over the head with it. It's there, you can see it, but it's not really super important or super
Intrusive, I guess.
Yeah, intrusive is probably the better word. I just find it's not just shoehorned in there, it feels natural.
Yep, I found the profiles were cute on the blue book.
Well, it's all in Japanese, so
Yeah, so we won't see in detail, but some of the points on here were funny for some of the characters.
yeah. Well, we don't have all the characters unlocked. She was born November 9th. Interesting fact. I think they update as you finish chapters, though. And they
yeah.
have weird things like what she likes. And... Wait, there's a binary string there. You can't translate binary to something you can read easily, can you?
No, I'm not that good.
What's your one?
101000001110101. I don't know. 1 plus 4 plus. Oh god.
It probably translates into something funny if you look it up, but I think that's out of the scope of this video, talking about this weird but kind of endearing game. Suki Boss. Boss is a very interesting character. I always thought her hair was kind of weird, though.
Yeah, she's got the big bangs.
She got the big bangs, but they're out of her face, and they're kind of like all over the place. This is like the epitome of...
Yeah,
Did they actually have her age in English?
She's 42.
Well, I just don't remember if it was actually in the English. I don't remember Dante even talking about it. But that's probably like... Okay, we're probably going forever. Would you recommend this game? What kind of person would you recommend this game for?
I would say if you like adventure games, if you like murder mysteries, science fiction, you're into story-based, I guess, visual novels, it's definitely good for you. Probably avoid it if you got sort of if you're not into sexual innuendos, you probably might be offended by some of the stuff that you see here. But yeah,
there's a lot of easy offension there.
If you gotta, if you like the ridiculous, if you like the inane, if you like murder mysteries, that's definitely for you.
Yeah. And it's free on, well, it's included in Game Pass on PC and console. Also has a cloud, which I think this would actually be okay on cloud. Except for a couple parts which they're not super tight though. Super tight requirements for reflex shooting. Most of it's just reading and listening to what's going on and making decisions. But there is a couple action sequences that are usually ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of multiplayer here. I mean, there's no share with your friends what you chose, like some of the Telltale games might have had.
No, yeah. Well, you have to go through all the paths, which,
yeah,
unlike the Telltale games, you get the whole story in one package and download. And it is also available on the Switch. I would assume it'd be on the PS4 also. I don't want to say something that's wrong, but I do have. My brother has a copy of the Switch version, which I have right here in my paw. You can't see it, but it's there. It's in a giant stack. I would assume this is like a $30-$40 game though. You bought it. But it was definitely worth the Game Pass download and playthrough. There's been a couple games that come on Game Pass that we've been interested in, and we just like, nah. And we kind of drop it. Which is fine.
yeah, this one actually held our attention. It was quirky, and you never knew what was going to happen next.
Yes, the not knowing was fun. I'm very much looking forward to the second one, even though the front of the box looks weird, and I want to know what happened to Mizuki's eye, because they do not explain it in this. Might
No,
spoil
they-
anything. If you look at the cover, see what I mean.
Yep.
So, I think that's it. I think we're good. So, everyone, you have a good week. I'll see you again on Tuesday if you're around for streams. I don't know what's this week. You want to say goodbye to everyone first?
Thanks for having me. It was nice
Yeah.
to reminisce.
Yeah, you'll be back for Strangers of Paradise.
Oh, heckle worthy.
Oh, it's glorious. Play that demo. All right, till next time. Matane.